All right, let's get right into it. Today, August 6th, Google just dropped something that might completely change how we build things online. It's called Jules. And look, this isn't just another AI assistant, it's something totally new. So, what does that actually mean for you?
So, first things first, you kind of have to forget what you think you know about AI. We're all used to AI that helps us out, right? It answers our questions, maybe writes an email, creates a cool image. But Jules? Jules is a completely different beast. It's not here to answer you, it's here to work for you. I mean, it can take on an entire project, like building a new app from scratch or fixing a bug in your software, and it'll just go to work for hours, even days, all on its own. We're talking about a whole new way of thinking here.
Okay, so how are we supposed to wrap our heads around a tool that's so different? Well, I think the best way to think about it is with a simple analogy. Imagine Jules is your own personal, on-demand AI software contractor. So let's get a really clear definition on the table. Jules is an autonomous AI agent. Its job? To build and fix software for you. And here's the kicker. It does this even if you know absolutely nothing about programming. That's the most important part. This isn't really a tool for coders. It's a tool for people with ideas.
Let's dive a little deeper into that home renovation idea, because it's a really good one.
For as long as I can remember, building software has felt exactly like that. It's this huge, complicated project. It's super expensive, you need to hire all these different experts, and honestly, you're probably shelling out thousands of dollars and waiting weeks, maybe months, before you even see anything happen. Okay, and here's where that analogy just clicks into place. Jules is like getting that expert contractor, the whole crew really, but instead of a bill for thousands and thousands of dollars, it's about $20 a month. And it can get started on your project, like, tonight.
Okay, so that's the big picture, the concept. But how does it actually work in practice? Let's walk through what it looks like to take an idea out of your head and turn it into something real with Jules.
The whole process is actually really simple, and it's built for people who aren't programmers. Think of it like this. You're the project manager, not the person swinging the hammer. So, step one, you just explain your idea. In plain English, nothing fancy. Then Jules takes that and creates a super detailed plan, just like a proposal a contractor would give you. Step three, you look it over. If you like it, you give it the green light. And only then, step four, does Jules actually start building. It works all on its own, in the background, while you're off doing other things. And finally, step five, it comes back to you with the finished product, all tested and ready for you to review. See? Your job is to have the vision, not to write the code. So, who is this actually for? Honestly, just about anyone with an idea. Think about a small business owner, maybe for a local bakery. They were quoted, $5,000 to add online ordering to their website. Now, they can get it done for a tiny fraction of that. Or what about a freelance photographer who wants a really unique portfolio site that stands out? Done. A small nonprofit that needs a way to track donations and volunteers but has zero budget for developers, this could be a game changer for them. Or hey, even just a hobbyist who's always wanted to build an app to catalog their book collection. Now you can. And they've priced it to be really accessible. There's a free plan, which is perfect just to get your feet wet, lets you run 15 projects a day. Then you've got the Pro plan. This is going to be the sweet spot for most people. Small businesses, freelancers, it's just under $20 a month and gets you up to 100 projects a day. And of course, for bigger operations or agencies, there's an Ultra plan that scales way up.
But let's just pause on that for a second. $19.99. I mean, think about that. That's less than what a lot of us spend on coffee in a week. For that price, you are getting an AI that can do the work of a software developer 24/7. That's the real headline here. It's just an incredible value.
Okay, I know what you might be thinking right now. This sounds a little too good to be true, right? So let's just tackle those big, skeptical questions head on. And let's start with the elephant in the room. If this thing is so powerful, does this mean programmers are about to be out of a job? Well, the thinking is probably not.
The best way to look at it is like what calculators did for mathematicians, right? Calculators didn't put mathematicians out of business, they made them better. They took over all the boring, tedious number crunching, and that freed up the humans to focus on the really creative, strategic, big picture problems. The idea is that Jules will do the exact same thing for software development. All right, next question, and this one's a big deal. Is it safe? I mean, if I'm going to let an AI loose on my business website, what's to stop it from completely breaking everything? And that is a totally fair question. It looks like they've built in a bunch of safety nets. First and most important, Jules does absolutely nothing until you personally approve its plan. Second, every single change it makes can be instantly undone. It's like a giant undo button for everything. Third, it actually tests its own work before it even presents it to you to make sure it works. And finally, you are always, always in complete control. It's your project.
Okay, and this might be the last big hurdle for a lot of people. It's that little voice in your head that says, can I really use this? I don't know the first thing about technology or coding.
And here's maybe the most important message of all. Think about it this way. You don't need to understand how electricity works to flip on a light switch, do you? Of course not. It's the same idea here. Your job isn't to understand the code. Your job is to have a clear idea, to be the expert on what you want to create. If you can do that, you can use this tool. So let's just zoom out for a second for the big finish. Because this isn't just about a new fancy way to write code. This is about the future of ideas themselves. There's a quote here that it nails it perfectly. It says, "We're living through the moment when technology stops being the barrier to good ideas and starts being the bridge to making them reality. For so long, tech was the wall. You had a great idea, but you couldn't build it. You didn't have the skills, you didn't have the money. A tool like Jules, it completely flips that around." And what that really means, what this all boils down to, is that technology is being democratized. It's leveling the playing field. It's giving that small business, that freelancer, that person with a dream, the kind of power that used to belong only to giant companies with huge budgets. It really does turn those someday projects into something you can do right now. Which leads us to the final, and really the only question that matters. You've probably had that idea kicking around in the back of your head for years, right? That app, that website, that little tool that would make life so much easier. And the only thing stopping you was the technology. Well, that barrier is basically gone now. So the question isn't, can you build it anymore? The question is, what will you build?